Hi guys, here is the worksheet on understanding ratios. I'm going to do the practice side with you guys so that way you guys can see how to do this so you guys can do the graded side. Not going to lie, this is a little bit tricky, but you are going to be making equivalent ratios in order to solve three different types of problems. I highly recommend that you have got a piece of paper with you so that way you can kind of follow along. And then these examples will help you definitely on the back side for the grade. Okay. So bear with me, put your seatbelt on, hold on, because it's going to be an interesting ride. Some of you guys might be able to pick it up really quickly. If you do, that is great. If you don't, stay with me on these problems, and then you're going to see, oh, maybe it's not so bad after all. Okay. So take a look at first problem right over here. Okay. A classroom had 35 glue sticks. If the ratio of glue sticks to glue bottles was 5-2, how many glue bottles did the classroom have? So there's a lot of information going on here. So one of the first things that I want to do, I'm going to zoom up over here, is that I need to know that I've got 35 glue sticks going on. I've got glue sticks and glue bottles, as well as a ratio. Okay, so the first thing that I always recommend my students to do is, first of all, figure out what are the two things we're talking about in this problem. So the first thing, we've got glue sticks and we've got glue bottles. So I'm going to abbreviate these and write it as a little ratio. So over here, I'm going to put GS for glue sticks. And right underneath it, I'm going to put GB for glue bottles. Okay, so I'm going to set up a ratio or a fraction. Okay. Then I have a little bit of information regarding my ratio. So you guys know that the first word goes with my first number in my ratio. So now I can put 5, which is associated to my glue sticks. And then my glue bottles is 2. So I'm going to put a 2 right there. Okay, so that's part of my information. Now they're telling me that the classroom had 35 glue sticks. So since my glue sticks is up on top, I'm going to put my 35 up on top. And I've got to figure out how many glue bottles I had down below. So many of you guys probably at this point recognize that there is a pattern that we went from 5 to 35 by multiplying by 7. So whatever I did on my top number, to find an equivalent ratio, I have to also multiply it by 7. So this gives me, right over here, 14. So the question it's asking me is how many glue bottles do the classroom have? So my answer is 14 glue bottles. Not too hard. This is the easiest one that you're going to encounter. The second one, it's similar, but just a little bit harder. Okay. So in this problem, let me change to the blue. Let's see if I can get a blue marker going on right here. Okay. So it says a student finished 8 of her homework problems in class. The ratio of problems she finished to problems she still had left was 4-1. How many homework problems did she have total? So the first thing that we've got to recognize is that we have got two things that we're comparing. Problems that she has finished to problems she had still left. So I'm going to put F for finished and then L for left. It's really important that you label where each of these items are occurring so that way you know exactly which number is going to be associated to what. Otherwise, you're going to forget and it's just going to go south real quick. So then it also tells us a ratio, 4-1. So if finished came first, we know that is associated to the number 4. She had 1 left, so we've already got that already filled out. Now it does say in the very beginning, she finished 8 of her homework problems. So obviously finished is up on top right here. And so I've got to put my 8 here, and I've got to find out what this missing value is right here. So this is similar to problem number 1. So we got to find out what the missing value is. So 4 times 2 is 8. So 1 times 2, our missing number is 2. This isn't the answer though. The question says, how many homework problems did she have total? So if she had 8 finished and 2 unfinished, how many total problems is that? So in this, we have to actually add these two together to give us 10 problems, which is our answer. So very similar to the first one, finding a equivalent ratio, but then we have to find what each of these two actually mean. Okay. Let me erase this, and maybe I can go on to the next one. Let me go to the markup. Maybe I can move it up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm learning as I go with this little software package. Number 3, on a Saturday, a library checked out 52 books. 24 of them were fiction. What is the ratio of nonfiction books to fiction books checked out? This is another type of problem, all right? We're still going to find some ratios and some missing numbers here. So the two things that we're dealing with is fiction and nonfiction. So I'm going to use F for fiction or fake, and then nonfiction. It doesn't matter if I put my fiction on top or my nonfiction on the bottom. As long as you are associating the correct numbers to each line, then you're fine. So it does tell us 24 of the books were fiction. In this problem, it doesn't give me the ratio. It actually wants me to find out the ratio. So I'm going to have to find that out at the very end, and I'm going to have to put that over here. If it tells me 24 of the books were fiction, so 24 is going to have to go up on top since it's associated to fiction. But I don't know how many nonfiction there is. But it's actually telling us what to do. If we know that 24 is fiction, we can easily take out our total amount of books and subtract 24 from them. So if I take 52 total books, subtract 24 of them, we can see that 28 must be nonfiction. So then the question's asking us, what is the ratio of nonfiction books? So since nonfiction comes first, we have to get that number over here first. And that number is 28. And then our fiction books is 24. So as you can see, each three of these problems are a little bit different. But either way, you can still find an equivalent ratio, finding or going through these problems. Okay. Number 4 is very similar to number 1. A recipe called for the ratio of sugar to flour to be 10:3. So sugar, flour. Sugar has to be 10, so I'm going to put that up on top. 3 down below because that is associated to the flour. If you use 70 ounces of sugar, so 70 must go up on top. Find out what the pattern is. We're multiplying that by 7 to get to 70. So I got to multiply 3 by 7 to get to 21. Question is asking how many ounces of flour? 21 is our answer. So this is very similar to problem number 1. Number 5 is very similar to number 2. So at a bake sale, there's 72 raisin cookies sold. Ratio of raisin to oatmeal was 9:1. What is the combined amount of raisin and oatmeal cookies sold? So in here, we've got raisin and oatmeal. So I'm going to use R for raisin, O for oatmeal. And then we're going to use our little ratio that they're giving us right over here to associate some numbers. So 9 has got to go with our raisin, 1 to oatmeal. And then it tells us we got 72 raisins. So 72 is going to go up on top. And we just have to find the missing number down here. We can see that 9 times 8 equals 72. So we have to multiply both my top and bottom numbers by that same value. So there must be 8 oatmeal cookies. But the question is, what is the combined amount of raisin and oatmeal? I have 72 raisin, 8 oatmeal. I have a total of 80 cookies. And that's what our answer is. Number 6 is just like number 3. Caleb had 136 songs on his MP3 player. He deleted 56 songs. What is the ratio of songs he kept to songs he deleted? So we've got 2 things. One is that he deleted and that he kept. This does not give us a ratio like the other problems do. So we actually have to find out what the ratio is. So I'm going to put it at the very end over here. If he deleted 56, we know that's part of our equation. but kept. How do we find out how many songs he kept? So if you remember from number 2, we actually had to take our 136, our total that they're giving us, minus our 56, and we get a total of 80 kept songs. So the ratio of songs he kept has to go first. So kept was 80, and then deleted was 56. Okay. So if you understand what we're doing, feel free to go on to the graded paper. If you still need a little bit more help, hang on for number 7 and so forth. All right. So let me move on up to number 7. Okay. Here we go. Number 7, ratio of red cars to blue cars in parking lot was 5-3. There's 40 red cars. How many blue cars were there? All right. So the 2 things we're dealing with is a red car and a blue car. Our ratio, and I always like putting my ratios first. So we know red cars is to 5, my blue is to 3. Then it says we've got 40 red cards, so 40 has to go up on top. Look for a pattern, so 5 times 8 equals 40. So 3 times 8 equals 24. And the question is asking us, how many blue cars were there? 24 is just our answer. Not 40 to 24. We don't have to add them. This is the easiest one as it goes. Number 8, a produce store sold 63 red apples. Ratio of red apples to green apples sold was 7-2. What is the combined amount of red and green apples sold? So it's giving us a ratio. It's got some information for us. So the 2 things we're comparing is a red and green apples. Here's our ratio. So red came first, so it's associated to number 7. 2 must be green. We've got 63 red apples. So our pattern is by multiplying my top number by 9 to get to 63, our bottom number by 9, which gives us 18. But they're asking us the combined amount of red and green. So if you've got 63 red and we have 18 green, we just have to add these up and we get 81 total apples. Okay, so this is very similar to a previous problem that we had before. Number 9, for homework, a student had to complete 15 problems total. She finished 6 problems in class. What is the ratio of problems she needs to complete a problem that she's already finished? So it's asking us, we've got to figure out what the ratio of problems are. So we know we're going to go ahead and figure that one out at the very end. So 2 things that we are looking at is finished and still needs to complete. So I'm going to put finished and then not finished. So right here in our problem, it tells us that she has finished 6. But how do we find out how many is not finished? Well, we just take 15 minus 6, and that gives us 9. So we don't even have to really do anything to this except write down the correct ratio. So the ratio of problems she still needs to complete is the non-finished ones to the problems that she's already finished. So her answer is 9-6. Number 10, super easy. Farm, the ratio of cows to horses, what's 9-2? 72 cows at the farm. How many horses were there? So we're dealing with cows and we're dealing with horses. Our ratio is 9-2. Cows is 9. Horses is 2. 72 cows, so 72 must go up on top. We know that the pattern is times 8, so we also multiply this by 8 and we get 16. So how many horses were there? 16. If that question was how many total horses and cows, then you would add them together. But our answer is just 16. So hopefully this has clarified a little bit for this. If you still need any help, let me know. All right, so thanks. Let me know when you guys can finish this paper. So submit it to me, and that way I can grade it as quickly as I can. Thanks.